And he paid $64,000 to a management consultant for that one idea, and I just gave it to you for nothing. Number 11, never consider the possibility of failure. Remember that in order to be successful, you have to fail a lot. Thomas J. Watson, the founder of IBM, was once asked by a young man, how could I be successful faster? And he said simply, double your rate of failure. If you want to be successful faster, fail more often. You see, there's a law of probabilities that says the more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. The less you fail, the less likely you are to succeed. Peter Drucker says you would never hire a person who has not had some major failures in life because they haven't learned anything. So the key is, if you want to be successful, don't be afraid of failure. Has anybody here ever failed, by the way? Have you ever failed? Yes. Did failure hurt you? No. Failure makes you strong. There's an old saying that what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Failure has made you strong. Failure has developed your character. There's an old saying that the north wind made the Vikings. The cold of the north wind coming out of the north that they had to row against made them the most formidable fighting force in the world. It's failure that makes us strong, but it's the fear of failure that kills us. And the way that you deal with the fear of failure is, once you've decided what your dreams are and what you want to do, act as if it were impossible to fail. Imagine it were impossible to fail. Say, by gum, I can do that, and start to think of all the benefits of achieving that goal, and then act boldly. Confront your fears. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Do you know that the ability to confront the fear of failure and to overcome it and to move towards your fears rather than away from them is the one guarantor that you absolutely become unstoppable? If you do it over and over again, you develop the habit of courage. When you develop the habit of courage, eventually you find you're not afraid of anything. When you're not afraid of anything, your whole world opens up for you like a sunrise on the horizon. Everything becomes possible. You look around, a person says, what about this, what about that? I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. You get to the point where you're willing to do anything except jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Because as they say, if at first you don't succeed, then skydiving is probably not for you. Number 12. Number 12 is resolve to persist until you succeed. In the final analysis, there are two parts of courage. Remember, Winston Churchill once said that courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. Courage is defined as the ability to act and to go forward in the face of uncertainty, is to face the fact that you may not succeed. It's the willingness to take chances and to take risks. The future belongs to the risk takers. The future belongs to people who are willing to take the risks necessary. The second part of courage is persistence. It's the willingness to endure. It's the willingness to hang in there. Once you've started and you have begun, there is a period between when you begin and when you get some result. And in that period, most people break and run. Most people fall apart. They cannot stand not knowing, so they rush back to their comfort zone. This is basically true in all the psychological work that's been done. But what you have to do is be willing to persist in the face of adversity, even though there is no guarantee of success. And here's the wonderful thing. When you persist, your self-esteem goes up. Each time you force yourself to stay in there, your self-esteem goes up. You like yourself more. You respect yourself more. You feel more confident. You feel better about yourself. In fact, in the ultimate end, you don't even mind losing because you've persisted. But here's the second thing, is persistence is self-discipline in action. And self-discipline is the foundation quality of a great personality. Everything we've talked about really depends upon our having the discipline to do it. And self-discipline means the willingness to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And if you can persist, you develop the habit of persistence. If you develop the habit of persistence, pretty soon you get to the point where nothing will stop you and you become unstoppable. In other words, everything we've talked about is that you build your own character. You create yourself in the image that you imagine for yourself. And your goal must be to become absolutely unstoppable in anything you do. Your goal must be to set big dreams and to set goals and to take responsibility and, by gum, to make anything out of your life that you want to make out of it. To do anything that you want, because there's no limits. At least there's no limits that you'll ever reach or I'll ever reach in our lifetimes. Let me leave you with this little poem, and it's called Don't Quit. And this poem is something you've all heard. It was written by someone named Anonymous, so we don't have to pay royalties for its use. And it says, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging is all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. For life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about. But he might have won had he stuck it out. So don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is just failure turned inside out. It's the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near, but it seems so far. So stick to the fight. When you're hardest hit, it's when things seem worst that you must not quit. And if you don't quit, and if you keep on keeping on, then you will become unstoppable. Yes, thank you very much.